writer friends, and welcome to Right Away After Party. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kat.
And we're going to be talking about workshops today. We're really excited for this episode. It's going to be a little bit longer than normal, and here we go. We're excited.
Sure. Yeah. Plenty of people, Nick and I included, have asked ourselves, what are some reasons? Why should I take a workshop?
Exactly. And I think one great reason is meeting people. I mean, I met Kat in a workshop so many years ago, but there's a lot of reasons to take workshops. I mean, you can, as far, oh gosh, my brain just shut down. I apologize.
That's okay. I'll take over while your brain comes back online. Reasons to take, well, listen, there is all sorts of reasons. We could do a whole episode on the reasons, but basically, it's like going to the gym for writing. You always want to write and you always want to improve your writing. You want a coach to show you where you can tweak, where you can polish. You want to know new tricks. Is your brain back, Nick?
Yes. I'm about to say that's a really good analogy. Like, getting some writing muscles and skills, like, and figuring out exactly what it is that you are taking the workshop for, I think is a number one thing to think about. Like, what kind of workshop is it? Is it a toolbox workshop? Meaning, like, is it genre niche as far as, like, is it about voice or plotting, or is it an overall, just writing workshop? And there's also, like, diving into, who you are as a writer. That was probably one of my favorite workshops, is finding out who I was as a writer, like discovering myself as a writer. And right. I did that with an accountability workshop. And it was like, what kind of writer are you setting yourself up to be? Are you going to be like an everyday writer? Are you going to be a writer that writes on the weekends? Are you going to be a writer that has to wake up early in the morning to write? Like, that was like, it was almost like a discovery of, like, who you were going to be before you even, venture into being a writer.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm going to just jump in there because people think that if they go to one workshop that promotes a certain type of writing style pattern for the writer every day, they may think that's the only way. And trust me, it's not. Every writer is unique as their voices. Every writer has a different system, but it's lovely, as Nick says, to know that people are out there and explaining all the different things that they do, because sometimes we may strike upon a system that works for us, but you don't have to take everything one person says.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there were, like, some things that we had discussed, about, like, are you writing a novel? Are you writing a novella? Are you writing a short story? Are you writing a magazine article? Are you writing a poetry? Like, are you just doing, like, what you do, like, 100-word exercise every day? Like, all of those are aspects of being a writer. So it's like, I think that's another level of discovery that you can do with a workshop, and you can take a workshop specifically for those areas and see if it matches for you.
So, and it's important also not to put the cart before the horse.
Yes.
You've got to determine where your skill lies, what level you're at as a writer. Have you been published already? Did you self-publish? But basically, we're looking, are you a beginner? Is this like your first steps into the world of writing as a writer? Are you novice? You've been writing for a little bit, but you still don't quite know your way around. Are you an amateur? Do you do it just for fun, or do you want to write a memoir, something for your family, not necessarily go the whole way into being published or being self-published? You just want to write something. There are workshops and classes for that as well. Are you professional? Is this like what you do every day? Are you an everyday writer or almost everyday writer? Or have you been published?
Yes. Or are you published? Or are you, is that your goal to be published?
Quite right. Is that your goal? And even the people who have been published continue to take workshops, continue to practice daily, continue to improve their craft.
Yes.
Think of golfers, think of tennis players, think of boxers, think of anybody who goes to the Olympics. How good are they at their skill? But coaches, and they practice and they practice. Same thing.
I mean, I would even challenge it's even more difficult than that. I mean, to think about it, because think about it this way. Like, I write picture books, but I also write novels,
Mm.
fantasy novels, and I also write thrillers. And I just wrote a family drama with LBGQ. So it's like, you know, those all took so many different skill sets to write those different genres. So, like, I mean, this is like, if you think about it, if I hadn't taken workshops in all of those areas, I don't know if I would have had the skill sets to write those different genres.
Mm.
So like, you can't just, I think that a writer needs to understand that, like, just because you write in a certain genre, if you want to switch, you might need to take a workshop. You might need to take some classes, join a community, you know, learn, get a critique group, which you can find in a workshop. You can find, I just found, I found my people in a workshop. I know that for sure. One of my critique groups is from a workshop.
Let me hop on that for a minute.
Yeah,
because that is a great place as a new writer, beginner, novice, amateur, or if you've moved towns or you've moved counties or you've moved countries. It's a great way for you to find a local workshop where you might meet up your new writer friends. We all need those because writing can turn into a bit of a lonely profession otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. It can be very isolating. It'd be very isolating, and it can be very confusing. It also can get really, really overwhelming sometimes. Because like when you think about all of the aspects of writing, right? Like I wrote down the other day, like just a kind of a little list to think of like what all the aspects were, like voice, character, pacing, style, plotting, structure, lyrical quality, you know, the music, the movement, you know, the character development, like all of that. And that's like not even like stringing it all together, you know, in paragraphs and sentences and structure. And I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
I think if you approach writing as if you think like, oh, anyone can write, and it's true, anyone can really write, but can you write a novel? Can you write an actual congruent story and you know, with an actual arc in it and, you know, plot points? And that's what I think workshops come in handy. And I would argue that, in my own opinion, that I think workshops are more beneficial than even going to college for writing, in my humble opinion. Like, I understand like going for an MFA would be, you know, beneficial, but I believe that I've gotten a lot of education just in the workshops I've taken.
Well,
so
basically, if you take an MFA, it's like a bunch of workshops all together.
Yeah, like within a classroom,
back to back to back to back. Whereas you and I have spent a lifetime, well, not a lifetime, but at least 10 years.
A long time.
Yeah.
At least 15
years. We met in 2000.
I think 2000s.
No, and here's the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
I was living in England and I came back to Florida and I thought, I need to find people. I need to find writing people. So I started off with a group in Orlando led by Jamie Morris.
Okay.
And through Jamie, I met Joyce Sweeney and then sort of connected to that group of writers because they were closer to me than the former one who was in Orlando. And that's when I met you.
Yes, at my house.
At your house.
And Joyce had a workshop at my house, and that's when we met. So it was exciting.
Was hosting the workshop, and it was great because I got to meet some people. Not all of them became my people.
No.
Some
of them became my people too. One of them lives in Ohio, and I still talk to her too.
There you go.
Yes. But I mean, it was, you know, the thing about that workshop too is like, it was very intense. Like it was over a span. I think it was 3 days. Like, was it 3 days that we met?
I think so. 2 days at least.
Yeah. I think the third day was just like a celebration thing or something. Like the first day was definitely a workshop. Second day was definitely a workshop. And I think there was a third day, but I can't really remember. Yes.
It was really good. And this is, I think it's important for people to know that sometimes workshops take place in either the author's home. Right? I hold some workshops here in my house, and I also offer them on Zoom.
Yes.
Okay.
So online. Yeah.
Because for me, that's a great way for me to keep working on my basic skills. Because that's really important. Because sometimes we get so up there that we forget, well, what were the basics again? The basics. So if I'm teaching the basics, it
Hmm.
really helps. A workshop can also be at a writer's house. A workshop can be in a local club or a local, sometimes they're in a local church. Or where else have you been to workshops?
Well, I mean,
Libraries?
a library is probably the most common for me because I belong to
Mm.
SCWI. So it's like, you know, what Society of Writers and Illustrators. But being part of that community, which I would really recommend getting part of a community as well, which leads to workshops. So there's workshops within that community, and they're all at libraries, but they're hosted by different authors, and you know,
Mm.
experts come in and teach us. And I think working with industry people, like whether it's an editor, or an agent, you know, a publisher, author, you know, just a writer on its way, that I think learning from them, being in the industry, especially if you're going for publication, if you're going for traditional publication, I think it's really beneficial to get a workshop with someone in the industry. So personally,
Yeah.
but there's all kinds of workshops that are led by all kinds of people. Some people aren't even writers that teach these workshops. They're like book coaches. You know,
Yeah.
book coaches are not necessarily writers, but they know so much about how to put a book together that they
Mm.
book coaches.
Yeah, and for example, if you're not going for publication, for example, my father, he
Hmm.
wanted to write a memoir. He had
Yeah.
no desire to be published. Although he wrote some incredible science fiction pieces, he didn't want to go that route, but he used to go to classes
Okay.
every Thursday morning, and he developed this book, which we treasure as the
Oh,
family.
I love that.
But everything that happened in his life, things we'd never known about.
Hmm.
And so that is a great thing to do as well. Not everybody wants to, not everybody needs to be published, but if you feel the urge to write,
Yeah.
join other people who have the same urge. Suddenly, you'll find your tribe and you'll
Yeah.
suddenly realize, oh, these are my people. They speak my language. I can, get on. So you have to get out. You have to take that first step yourself.
Yeah.
Remember, decide what it is that you want to write. You can change that afterwards. But at the beginning, if you've never been to a workshop before, just kind of decide, well, I just want to play around, or I want to hear a
Yeah.
bit more. And then decide for the moment, do I just want to write for fun, or do I want to grow up a bit more in this?
Yeah, exactly. And don't get overwhelmed and don't get discouraged. You know, going to workshops is a great way to be encouraged and get the creativity put in you. And it takes a lot of the pressure off that you have to like figure this out on your own. So
Hmm.
definitely encourage to go to workshops for that reason too.
Yeah, and I think workshops, don't take them too seriously, because you will, if it's more than an hour, so much stuff will be thrown at you that
Yeah,
you want to just try to take away one or two
exactly.
main points so that you can ingest those and kind of feel how they work for you.
Yeah.
And there's
And
so much more to
know that you
talk
can always
about.
go to, yeah, and know that you can always go to another one afterwards too. This isn't the end all
Absolutely.
be all.
Yeah,
Well, with
absolutely.
that, I would like to say thank you so much, writer friends, for joining us today on Right Away After Party. Please subscribe to our channel. And Kath, it's been a pleasure.
Always, always a pleasure. Don't forget to ask us questions or tell us what you've done or what you would like to hear more about. We love to hear from you. Obviously, some people just text us and go, but you can totally DM us or comment on our
Yeah,
YouTube
and
channel.
like our channel. We would love for you to like our channel. Yes.
Definitely like and subscribe
And share it
and
with friends.
share. Tell your friends. That's it.
Thank you. Love
Okay,
you.
thanks for being here.